Hi everyone, and welcome to the Disability Podcast with your hosts Eddie and
Damo.
On this episode of the podcast, we'll be interviewing the CEO of One Culture, Nader Ibrahim. The focus of today's podcast is really going to be talking about community and the importance of inclusive sports. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we really hope you enjoy the podcast.
Nader. Welcome from One Culture.
Thank you.
So glad you're here, man. Looking forward to digesting everything that's One Culture, how it started, who you are, man, and really just another example of what the NDIS is about and the amazing people that make the NDIS what it is, the innovation and your story, man. So, mate, I'd love to just start with who you are, what brings you here, and how this all came to be what it is today.
All right. Thank you very much for having me, and hello to everyone out there listening. Before I get into anything, I would like to ask Damien a question. What type of football do you watch on the weekend?
Okay, so not football as in soccer football.
Wrong answer, mate. Okay.
No.
It has to be only you and me now, Eddie.
I better sit between you, do you reckon?
Okay, and I'll just go to sleep.
So obviously a big footy, as in soccer, football fan,
Football,
yeah?
yes.
Love
Obviously, Women's World Cup is...
Does it count if I say I watch the World Cup every 4 years?
Yes. That will put you in the good books
So
for now.
can I come back in?
Yes, you can.
Good, yes.
You're welcome. So thank you for having me. My name is Nader Ibrahim. I was born and raised in Egypt. I lived 27 years of my life in there. I've done all the schooling and my university. I did a bachelor degree of journalism. I always wanted to be able to speak and tell stories and be able to let the public know, let people know what's happening and all of it.
Well, this should be right up your alley then.
Well, again, English is my second language, so I'll try my best. Obviously, and that actually coming to Australia and start having to use a different language altogether. Even though I was fluent at it when I came here, not as good as now. Obviously, I've been here for 14 years now. 2009, I landed in Adelaide in May, so just clocked 14 years, and still counting. But back to the beginnings. Done the degree of journalism, but never worked in the field. I tried my best and I went here and there, but unfortunately in a country that the population was about 90 million. Now I think they've exceeded 100 million, and a lot of it is who you know and what's your connections and stuff like that. It would have been very difficult for an ordinary person to actually break into the elite kind of thing. I was like, well, it is what it is. I've done my part. And then I started just doing whatever work. I always knew I wanted to travel. Originally, when I was a lot younger, I wanted to become an engineer and actually go to Germany and work in one of the vehicles manufacturers, and actually that's the type of car that I always drive here. So I still carry at least a little bit of that dream by being able to afford to drive that car that I always wanted to
Awesome. What do you got?
work on.
BM?
I've got a Volkswagen.
Nice.
Nice. I think also
Station wagon or four-door?
I've got a Ute.
Oh.
Yes. It was
nice. I can picture it now.
Yes.
Nice.
It was like one of these nice hot hatches, but as the work evolves, and then now I have to carry a lot of things because we run a lot of events and stuff. So I saw the Ute and I loved it. I'm like, you know what, I'm getting that one.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what I've been driving for the last few years. But I always knew that I was gonna go somewhere, and I was fortunate enough to come to Australia. My brother was here before me, about 4 or 5 years. He helped me to come to Australia. I came as an international student, and with him. Having the conversations before I came, okay, you're gonna have to study something here. I said, well, look, we might give journalism another shot. So he sent some communications, and because I come from the other side of the world and we speak another language, so they said, you can, but you have to start from the beginning. I was like, no, I'm not starting again. What else can I get into that just keeps me in touch with the people? He said community services, of course. So enrolled into TAFE, and I've done a diploma of community services.
Awesome.
And I finished that, and straight away I started looking for work within the community. So I had I worked a little bit in the mental health, a little bit in the disability, a lot in the youth, a lot in the refugees and migrants space. I was taking it all in, and I was just learning as much as I can about the community. The initial 2 years for me, I was always listening to the radio, watching the TV, especially watching the news, trying to understand the surroundings and get a real feel of where I am and how things run in here. It was easy for people to understand what I was saying. It was a bit difficult for me to understand the Australian accent at the beginning. You just used to some of the British or the American accent in the movies and stuff like that. But I've never met an Australian before until I came to Australia.
You never watched Crocodile Dundee?
Never Home and Away either.
Yeah, you're not missing much. Sorry, any Home and Away lovers. And
I thought, and I've seen the very good side of Australia. I've seen the very good side of Adelaide, the initial 2 years. And also I have to mention the sport. My brother is a football player, and Damien, I mean the real world game, the football, the round one, the good one. I landed, I remember it was a Wednesday, and then first thing he asked me is like, are you going to play football? I said, yeah, of course. Thursday we went and he got me a new pair of boots, and then he took me to the club that he used to play at, but he was injured at the time. He was just taking a season off, and then he introduced me to the coach and to the team, and then I just trained. Coach was happy. He was like, what are you doing in the weekend? I was like, not much. I just got here yesterday. He said, would you want to come and play a game? I said, sure. So I went and I played a game. I scored a goal, and we won that game. And then suddenly I've only been here like 3 or 4 days, and I feel like I belong somewhere. Next week comes and I go to training, and a lot of people know my name.
you felt like you were at home.
I felt like I'm at home partially, yes. When I step into the football club.
Eddie and I were discussing before you got here that, you could be at a playground with your kids and meet another man that doesn't speak Egyptian or Australian, but show him the soccer ball or football, and he will know exactly what you mean.
Here's a common language
without even saying a word.
That's it. That's exactly that.
So
and that's the whole beauty about football. It's like the world game. It just opens. No need to talk. You just get on and play and just have all of the fun. So that was the initial. I didn't think of it much back then. I was like, well, this is amazing. And then when I rock up to training the next day, I only knew the coach's name, but half of the team at least, or most of the team knew me. Or knew my name, and some of the spectators in the second game, like they knew me and saying hello and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, this is good. This is good. Give me a couple of years, I'll be a prime minister.
And now you're signed to a $625 million contract per year, right?
Don't say that, because someone of the ATO might be listening and they will ask me for tax. So don't get me in trouble, please. I'm only here to help.
Maybe a hot dog and a can of Coke.
Done. Sold.
Okay, good.
And then when I started, so obviously that was the little encounter that I had initially with the football. Stayed with me. I didn't think much of it. I didn't know the value of it. Yeah, I appreciated it, obviously, but not to the level that I am now. When I started working in the industry, obviously, if the initial job was working with the children that have been removed from their families, and this is tough. I didn't think this was the case anywhere. I've just only seen the good side, the positive side, the green side, the beautiful side, the comfortable, the convenience, this. I haven't seen much of the problems in Australia. And then I just wake up in the morning going into my first shift, and bang. And that was like a massive reality check. And then when I went home, and then I was having a conversation with my brother. I was like, things are a lot tougher than I expected. He's like, you now are seeing the other side, or the not very common side, or the side that's not spoken about often.
Yeah.
It's not very obvious for a newcomer to the country, but unfortunately there is a lot of it. And you will get to learn more about it, and that was a reason for me. Like, I do this job for like a year or something, and then I move into I start learning more and discovering more sides and aspects of community services, and that's when I go and work in another industry or another part of it, so I can actually understand a little bit more until I go on the big full picture. The last job where I was working with new arrivals, unaccompanied minors specifically. So back in 2014, 15, 16, 17, there was a lot of boats coming to Australia, Christmas Island and that, and they would be released into the community on like community detention visa kind of thing, but a lot of them were unaccompanied minors, so young females, young boys coming on the boats without their parents. So
Sorry, I was just going to ask, can you, obviously, the home country is the main reason, but why were parents sending their children away to other countries where there was no one even there to pick them up at the other end?
people had a lot of faith in what was happening here.
And that's all it come down to.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. And sending your child that's not 18 on a boat, obviously it's a very risky business.
And some would be little kids as well, yes?
Not too little. I think the youngest I've seen was about 10 or something.
Wow. Well, my boy
but
turned
that's-
10 last week, and I can't imagine sending him away on a boat. No way.
I know. It is a very tough choice to make as a parent. Obviously, I've never been put in this position, and I hope I never will.
And to send them away, is it a matter of life and death, or is it because they can't afford to parent them back home, or a bit of both, bit of everything?
I think a bit of everything, but most likely the parents are left with no choice.
Okay.
If they really, when you have a child, you really want the best for that child, and then you see your life going, and the life of your father before you, and things are only going downwards. So you try to at least make a change for your child.
At home, it really is a case of the rich getting richer and the poor getting even poorer.
Unfortunately, that's the case in a lot of parts of the world.
I think it's in most parts of the world
most parts
nowadays.
of the world
these days.
That's really true. So these young boys and girls were coming, and I was working with them, and there was like from so many different nationalities, and most of them couldn't speak except a couple of words of English here and there. So it was always the football. I bring the ball out and just go somewhere in the park and start playing, and that's when like you see another side of them. They're always like anxious, stressed. They're children. They have their families, and the organization that looks after them becomes their family kind of thing. So there's always like, we don't know what's gonna happen, immigration this, visa that. So they just surrounded with stress that you won't be able to cope with like in the age of 40 and 50 and stuff, let alone being 15 or something. But the football was always that one thing that, at least puts that smile on the faces. And whenever you call for an activity here or there, there is few going to show up. But once you roll the ball, everybody's happy to come out. And
that first smile on their face when you pull the football out of the bag is like, yes!
That's the way. That's why there's always one in the boot of the car, and some cones and stuff like this. You can always almost set up anywhere and just get started. And that takes us a little bit forward to coming to the inception of One Culture Football. In doing that, we done a really good job, and the organisation really seeing the organisation that I was working for, really seeing the benefits of it and all of it, and then we wanted to do a little bit more. Like I said, we can go north, we can go south, we can go west. We can do a lot more of this. But obviously, because the organisation wasn't a sporting organisation, and they only are willing to work with these individuals so long as they are on their caseload kind of thing. After that, they moved on, so now they are with someone else. So it's not our job now. I started to like, but this what's been created. It's now like you're starting something and it's not being followed on or something like this. And then I was like, nah, maybe there's something could be done here. Meanwhile, I've met with my business partner and the co-founder of One Culture, Josh, who was here he's originally from Sydney. He was coming to Adelaide as part of the coaching team with Adelaide United, so also like a football head. And he was looking for obviously another part-time job. So he worked as like a youth engagement officer in another organization, and he said to them, I'm a football guy, just let me do the engagement, whatever type of engagement you guys want through sports. They said, well, do whatever you want to do. And then he started looking like who does similar things in Adelaide, and all of the fingers pointed him towards what I've been doing for the past few years kind of thing. So he came and he met me as like, listen, I'm only new here in Adelaide, I've only been here a few weeks, and I just got on this job, and before I started doing something, I wanted to see what's available in that.
And when you were doing it, was there a lot of it happening in Adelaide? Was there a little bit of a gap? Obviously, there's always going to be need for it.
There is always a massive gap, and it's still here.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely come to talk about the gaps, but basically, unless you are playing in a club,
Which is expensive.
You are not playing. That's it. If you're at school, yeah, you can play at school with the kids. But if you're not at school and you're not at a club because you can't afford it, or maybe you just want to go and play just for the fun, like, because if you go to a club, you have to be there for training a Monday and a Tuesday and whatever days, and you have to get to be like there 2 hours before the game, and commitment. Some people just want to play just for the social play kind of thing, just for the social benefits.
Just a little de-stress, 40 minutes to play with friends.
That's it. And if you're happy to come, you come. If you couldn't make it next week, it doesn't matter.
My youngest has a hearing impairment. He's got a cochlear on his left and a hearing aid on his right ear, and he wants to play football. And the reasons you just mentioned about, training 3 nights a week and all the money involved and stuff, and we just can't afford it, and we just do not have the time to take him out, or the 8 a.m. on Sunday morning games. We just can't do it.
And look, there is definitely nothing wrong with this. Like having a lot of people like the competitive side of it, the elite side of it. That's amazing. But the vast majority of people just want to play for the fun. They just want some social engagement. Just come out, have a kick around, meet some friends, just have all of the benefits of the football without actually having to go through all of the I don't want to say hurdles, but I would want to say all of the structures that's there. Sometimes a lot of structures could be very limiting because...
Well, I think like when you look at a family that's, maybe of somebody that's an NDIS participant, or there's only one income coming in, there's maybe, there could be domestic violence, there could be drug use, there could be just a lack of education, like a lot going on in a family, and then to say, hey, we need you here 3 to 4 times a week, it's like, oh, a kid just wants to go have some fun with his friends. It's a lot.
Those things you just listed are the reasons why we can't. Yeah. Not the domestic violence and all that, but the NDIS, the one income, disabilities involved, like, because obviously I have a disability, my wife has a disability, we can't always be transporting him to, the Riverland because he's got a 10 a.m. soccer game, and
True.
All the kid wants to do is just play football.
Yeah. That's right. So for me, I found I played football on the street all of my childhood. It's just always... there is a ball, one of us have a ball, or if we lose that ball, we'll put like a pug each, and you know what I mean, and just go together and buy a ball, and then just keep playing it out until it just goes back to ruins, and then we'll hopefully find somebody else that can get us another ball or something, and just played football day and night all the time. In school, after school, on the street. So it was just giving me everything that I needed. And every now and again, when there is a competition or tournament or something, we'll make a team and go and play. But I myself never played in a structured club. I actually went when I was 14 or 15, and I went and done the test for new recruits, new players for one of the equivalent like to the A-League clubs in here, and I passed, and I was asked to come again for, you know, the next phase kind of thing. But my mum said like, hey, listen, this is like 2 hours away and you have to go on trains and buses and stuff like this. You're almost in high school and it's too expensive. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I said, well, okay, it is what it is. Obviously I understood. I saw the situation around me, and but maybe back then if my parents could afford it or something, I could have broken into professionalism kind of thing. But I was like, well, I understood.
But then you might not be here doing what you're doing now.
But everything happens for a reason. That's
Absolutely.
why. 100%. So Josh and myself came together, and we obviously faced similar scenarios of like, sports is always a key of bringing people together, and it's just more than just coming together and playing the game and sweating it out and going. There is the connections, there is the confidence, there is the friendships, there is all of it is just like, it's never ending positive things coming with it. But there isn't another type of system that's very relaxed that can allow people to just come and play as they please. And that's when we decided, okay, how can we do this? We sat with some people and we got on some advice, and everybody said, you got to set up your own non-for-profit organization. You got to make it a charity, and you can just go, can go and apply for some grants, get some money from, you know, councils, local councils, state governments and stuff like this, because they always love to see engagement for disadvantaged, especially youth and stuff like that. And also with the disability, NDIS was only just a new thing. It's only been like a couple of years around, and a lot of people were like trying to figure it out. I read a little bit about it and had a friend that was working in the scheme at NDIS when it first started. So I asked some questions and I understood it, and I really appreciated the concept of giving the choice and control into people. So actually, now here is a budget for you, and it's your choice to go and get whatever appropriate service for yourself according to your needs and your wishes. I was like, this is an amazing concept. I would have never thought of something as good as that. Because again, coming from 27 years of living in a country that it is what it is, you just move on and deal with it, into now you have a disability, but here is a plan for you, here is a budget for you, and here is everyone out there, all of the providers out there. You go and find the best one that suits you, and get the support that you like. That was a great concept. So we set up One Culture Football, and we started reaching out to the community. We obviously had the two sides of it. One that just runs for the new arrivals, refugees, people just new to the country, and that still happens until today. And the other side of it is creating special programs that's a little bit slower, a little bit more easier, a little bit more calmer, a little bit more, has a lot more instructions, easy to follow instructions, slow-paced football programs for people with disability. And then it's gone really popular. And it started to really catch wind, is that the right term I'm saying? Like started to take off. And things were really getting better, but obviously everything comes with a challenge, because what you're doing was very unique to the point that plan managers and that didn't even understand. What do you mean you can play football and pay for it through your NDIS? This is not a thing. It's not therapy. It's not support work. It's not personal care. It's not the main things that parents themselves, plan managers themselves, everyone was still learning the system. Everyone was learning as they go. But I'm trying to explain the concept of social and community participation.
That's exactly right.
How can you be social? There's so many ways of doing it. You can go to the pub. You can just hang out with some mates. But you also can go and play some sports.
It's also about mental health as well.
100%.
Both my boys do karate, and their NDIS covers their karate fees. One, because one of my kids has low muscle tone.
Yes.
So it's a physical rehab.
Yes.
But he's also autistic, so he doesn't understand social cues, boundaries, all that sort of stuff. And my other boy, the hearing impaired one I mentioned earlier, he's got physical needs as well. So it's in their goals and it pays for it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And football should be the same thing.
Yeah.
It is now.
Which
It
is
is
good.
now. Luckily. Yeah, people now understand. But again, I'm not blaming anything on anyone.
No.
But again, it's a new scheme and it's a new way of thinking. It's a new approach to supporting people with a disability in the ways of what they're doing.
Absolutely. And sorry, I was just going to say, there's so much more to rehab than going to a physio or a psychologist for your NDIS, where you could be doing social outings to help with your mental health, football to help with your physical, all those sorts of things. It doesn't have to be a physio or an OT all the time.
You just reminded me of a very, very funny story. One mother says to me, I have speech every Thursday. I take him to speech and I beg him to say a word. He just doesn't like the lady or whatever. He just doesn't. There's nothing wrong with the speech, but the kid wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And then in here, when he's at the football, I have to keep yelling at him from the sideline to tell him to shut up, because he was all the time giving me instructions on how the sessions should run. He's like, no, but Nader, maybe the red team should start and then the blue team. It's like, it's okay, I got it, I will look after it. You just get on and play.
Just play.
No, but you're not listening to. And his mum is now having to stop him from talking. Meanwhile, at the same time, he was going to have some speech sessions. Obviously, everything has its own value, but when something just happens just naturally, you just create the environment, and this is what we really did. You create the environment that can, or a platform that all of these other benefits can be attached to, semi-attached to it, or even relevant to it. And this is what sports does. It gets you the physical aspect, and it gets you the conversation aspect. It gets you like the fine motor skills as well, with all of the little exercise and drills and stuff that we do. So it's kind of complementary to all of the other services out there. And that's when really things like a lot of the physios out there and the OTs out there started hearing about the program and seeing it. And people were like, this is amazing. You really... Yes, because I could see you once a week or once a fortnight, and I'll give you some exercises to do, and then we come back and meet next Wednesday. Have you done your exercise? Maybe once on the last Tuesday or something. But at least if you've gone out and played sports 2 or 3 times within the week or the fortnight, there is some really some positive movement, and it's just all happening in a very fun, open, friendly environment, and that was the tick point there.
And like, obviously your programs aren't just for kids, but we're going to see a whole bunch of kids not falling behind socially, with a whole bunch of disability needs, because of programs like this, where they're getting so many different things developed, and they're being challenged to deal with their emotions and their confidence, their social skills, their physical skills. It's so encompassing. Sports, community, it brings people together.
100%. And this is what I really love to hear. Again, it always takes me back to my beginnings. Being a child, my mum is able to afford me shoes to go to school, but just to get different shoes to play football in it sometimes is not possible. So you end up playing football in your school shoes, and then you end up ruining the school shoes, and then now you cannot get football shoes, or you cannot get a new pair of school shoes, so you end up going the rest of the year to the school in broken shoes. So disadvantage in general for me is what I look for, and is what triggers me. When I see someone is not able to do something simple as having fun and being part of the community, or being part of a group, is what really triggers me, because being isolated is something that I've always seen. Not necessarily isolation in its all means, but you feel like sometimes your circumstances isolate you from your potential, isolate you from your little basic needs and rights and stuff like this. And this is why, for me, all I try to do and all I try to focus on, how can I run a service or think of something that people can utilize that it's going to remove this isolation and bring him a step closer to the things that they like to do, whether that was sport or not. And when we started, obviously everything was football, and a lot of people started saying to us, but not everybody loves football. There is basketball, there is cricket, there is footy.
AFL.
I said no to the AFL.
Can you watch AFL or do you not like it?
I can watch that. You know what? Let me give you a very good example. The difference or the comparison between Australia, how, at least in my view, and Egypt, where I've come from.
Mm-hmm.
Egypt is going to be the football, the soccer, and Australia is going to be the AFL. In football, you can plan out the whole thing. The team does all of the play out and go as close as possible, and they actually score a goal. But some annoying man on the side with a flag is just going to pull the flag out and call it offside because somebody was a couple of millimeters ahead. The striker was a couple of millimeters ahead of the defender, and then the goal is ruled out. Meanwhile, this is your opportunities in Egypt. Now you come to your opportunities in Australia. You are in a massive oval. There is 80,000 people supporting you, and then you hit the ball, and then you miss, and you still get a point. What? You missed the damn target. It's huge target. You hit the post, or you score it on either side of the thing, and you still get a point. You get a point for missing the target. I love Australia.
Yeah, but that's like just being runner-up all the time.
I love Australia. This is amazing. You're a good man. You tried. You had a good kick. It's close. You're not going to go home empty-handed. We're going to give you a point.
Oh.
And if you scored a goal, you get 6 points. This is amazing.
Now this leads me to my next question.
Yes.
Do you believe every child that plays should get a trophy? Or,
I 100%
because
agree.
this comes back to the guy missed the goal, so he gets a point. But
Just for participating, you should get a trophy.
Should everyone get a participation trophy?
100%.
Okay.
What we do, we play our little part in this as well. At the end of every term, we run what we call inclusive championship. So we've been running weekly, like let's say the school term just started. So we've been running weekly programs. So every Monday there is basketball, every Wednesday there is futsal, every Thursday there is cricket, this day there is another sport. But we bring everyone together in the first Saturday of the school holidays, every school holidays, in what we call inclusive championship. And we set up like 3-4 different courts. Here is football, here is basketball, here is pickleball, here is tennis, here is this, here is that. And even the players that only always go to basketball, for example, they now gonna rotate and play 2 and 3 and 4 different sports within the one day. So, and at the end of the day, everybody gets a certificate of, and that means really, really, really a lot. And at the end of the year, in the December Inclusive Championship, which is like the season presentation kind of thing, also everybody gets a medal and stuff like this. And it means a lot. A lot of the stories, a lot of the things that I heard from the parents is like this little piece of paper that you just sign on it and just say you're a champion and stuff like this. It's been framed and it's been put everywhere in the house, and it means a lot. And to me, what does that cost me? Nothing.
Exactly.
But just to say to somebody, well done just for being here.
Yeah.
Well done just for trying. Well done just for saying I can. Well done for thinking that I am able to do whatever. What we're trying to say here is we're trying to utilize sports to focus on your ability rather than your disability.
Okay.
Does it get quite emotional in the game debriefs sometimes?
Sometimes.
Talk us through that.
Sometimes, especially, let's not forget, now we need to stop talking about me and my background and what I want from the game, because after that, there is at least 10 or 15 or 20 individuals that are all different to one another. You decided, or they decided, they're all going to come together and play this game. But they all have their own differences. and how they approach things. Some of them, they're just happy and chilled, and some of them are very competitive.
Some of them just want to kill you when you've got the ball, right?
Some of them are just gonna go and slide tackle you as hard as, and it's all happening, and you're just trying to manage. And how many times you just put your hands on your head, and it's like, I hope nothing happens here, but this is really amazing, and we've seen a lot of things like situations that's like heated up, and
that's
you
okay.
As a sports person, you love it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't want the kids to fight. Like, this is
a
the
healthy
last
way
thing.
to do it, right?
It's a beautiful way of doing it. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful way of doing it. The other really, really, really good thing of the concept, we always said to the parents, if let's say you have a child that's 8, or even you have someone who's 19, has a disability coming to the sport, they have a sibling close in their age, and the sibling doesn't have a disability, can you please encourage the sibling to come and participate in our program? Number one, he's going to help his brother or sister, or her brother or sister. Number two, it's going to create a lot more bonding when it comes to sport, because usually if you're now at home and there is one child with a disability and one child without a disability, and you're just like trying to kick the ball around in the backyard and stuff, this synergy might not be there. Being here in the program together, the sibling learns some things that they can take home and they can actually do with their brother or sister at home. So you can actually get that, plus the bond. We encourage parents to just put some sneakers on and come down and kick the ball around. Awesome. You know what I mean? So when you go home, because you come once a week or twice a week, but you're at home almost the rest of the time, unless you're at school or something. So you can actually utilize the learnings of what you've had here, and all of the connections that you've built with your family member, and you can utilize that even more at home.
It's awesome, man.
Hey everyone, just a quick interruption from today's podcast to share with you about today's sponsor, FlexCare. FlexCare is an SA-owned and operated allied health service provider offering in-home services across Metro Adelaide and from our Norwood clinic. They offer occupational therapy, physiotherapy, podiatry, exercise physiology, and therapy assistance. If you're in need of therapy to achieve an NDIS goal, get in touch with them today. FlexCare is an NDIS registered service provider. Now back to the podcast.
I got one more question for you.
Happy, shoot.
Everybody loves to win, correct?
Correct.
That's not the question that's coming. Do you believe children need to know how to lose before they learn how to win?
I have a 6-year-old child. She's in reception, and I'm trying my best to win a game of, without being told that I'm mean. So I'm trying to play a game of football with her without... I'm trying my best not to score any goals, because she has to score all the goals. So it is very, very, very difficult aspect, but it must start from home.
Absolutely. I
It
agree.
must start from home, and teaching the kids that losing is part of the game.
Yep.
It's part of life sometimes, in a way,
It's
right?
a big part
It
of
is,
life.
because you can lose anything.
100%. 100%.
You know, I play a lot of PlayStation with my kids.
Yes.
And, they get on a FIFA game with me, or NBA, or wrestling, or anything.
Yes.
And they get really mad when I don't let them win. I'm like, you will win when you're better than me.
Oh, that's a lot of competition.
But I'm not going to just let my child win
100%.
just so he can smile for 5 seconds.
No, 100%.
And give him false hope of, oh, wow, I'm actually good at something, when he's not really.
That's right.
But at the same time, I don't talk shit and go, suck shit, you lost. I might do that sometimes.
Yes.
This is about creating resilient people, isn't it?
Yes.
100%.
And I just truly believe that everybody, not just kids, but and you've seen it on TV. Some adults don't know how to lose.
Oh, a lot of them.
A
lot of them.
A lot of those adults fall down holding their shin, and they've been hit by a ghost.
True.
They haven't been touched because
True.
they don't know how to lose.
Yes. I think it's a very important culture to have, and it's also it has a very fine margin as well, because you need to put it in a way that, number one, you need to put 100% into trying to win.
Absolutely.
But if you didn't, it's okay,
Just do your best.
because you can. Yes, but if we really leave it too open to lose, why would I even try? If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. It is what it is. So the aspect of the competition. But what I see a very, very key in here is actually the love for the game.
Yeah.
If they love what they're doing,
should
they
ma-
will keep coming back even if they're losing. And they will keep getting good at it until they beat you. And then they will tell you, you lose, you suck shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I can't wait for this day to
I
happen.
can't wait till my son can beat me, and I'll laugh with him. You know, and it's like these football teams around the world that, you know, they haven't won a professional game in 5 years, but they show up every single week on the hope that half
could
the
be
other
today.
half the other team's being shot down or something, so they can win. You know,
Yes.
and if one day they win, and it makes it
means
all
the world
worthwhile.
for- Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it wipes away all of these problems of the last 5 years. And that's why, for us, a key, number one, especially in sports, whether your child has a disability or not, if you want your child to be part of sport, this is amazing. But let them be in a sport, even if it doesn't make sense to you, even if they don't even have to move while they're playing the sport. It doesn't look like sport at all. Not everything has to look like rugby, right? Any form of sport, so long as they are enjoying what they're doing it. Because if they feel like they've been pushed into it and they've been forced into it at the very, very first opportunity, they will exit. And this is why at the age of 14 and 15, there is some statistics that this is the most crucial age, and this has got nothing to do with disabilities in sport in general.
Yeah.
14 and 15 is the crucial age where a lot of the children leave sport. They've been going since they're under 7, under 8, because mum take you, dad take you, you just go, and you're happy, you just go and run in the mud, and then you just go home and stuff. But once you developed into like being a 13, 14, 15
And
years old
start
child,
having an opinion for yourself.
yes, and I don't like it.
Or I'd rather stay home and play PlayStation.
That's it.
Or stay home and sleep.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And obviously, again, like, parents need to encourage that, but really, really, really always make sure that your child loves what they're doing. Otherwise, all of this time is just going to go to waste. And we're talking here that actually could create a problem for them not wanting to play sport in general for the rest of their lives.
It's like giving everything from the coaches, the assistants, the support workers, and the parents all this common conversation with the kid, right?
Even the spectators.
The spectators.
Even the spectators. Somebody could be just on the sideline, don't even know who you are, don't even know what the name of the team that's playing, but they were just walking past, saw a crowd, stood there, you kicked the ball didn't go the way. In their head, they thought that's how it should have been done. I was like, wow, was that? Who are you?
I do that all the time, though.
Don't say that. I'll give you a yellow card for doing that.
Not to you, but I sit there, you know, obviously there's a lot of things I can't do, but I'm a very, very bad sideline coach.
Oh no. I have a target today. No, seriously, in sport, a lot of the things, there is a lot of studies and researches into that. A lot of the things that why a lot of young boys and girls had stopped playing football. One very big fat answer was like, it's not fun anymore.
Parent pressure.
Plus all of the pressures and all of the side things that happen to it that shouldn't have been.
And I know for a fact if I was playing a sport and I had my parent yelling at me from the sideline, you know, oh, you fucking idiot, you did it wrong, blah, 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 I wouldn't want to play anymore.
That's true. That's true.
And I know that happens. It happens all the time.
100%.
And thankfully I'm not one of those parents, but they are out there.
Heaps.
Yeah,
Heaps.
and if I was that child, I'd be like, you know what, Dad? Shove it up your ass. I'm out of here.
That's true. And that's the thing. And that's the thing, seriously, for us. Sport, let's put a very, very little quick statistic. Australia, let's say we're 25 million people,
Yep.
right? Let's say half of us are women. The Women's World Cup is happening in Australia within the same time of when we're recording this in Australia and New Zealand. At the end of the day, the Matildas squad is 20 or 24 players, right? So there is the chance is 2 per million for a female to represent Australia.
Yeah.
What about the 19,900,989,000 other million people? What about them? If you're not going to make it to represent your country or represent your state team, so the odds are very, very, very minimal. But we have the entire system leading up to the competition, and it's only looking upwards.
Yeah.
So you have to take the abuse, you have to take the injuries, you have to take this, you have to take that like a soldier. While 80% of these people are just in the game because their friends are there and they just have a good time while they're there. And this is our focus. It's like we are creating this environment that a person with a disability, without a disability, will step a foot on the court. They just have an absolute fun and they're going to go. If they didn't turn up next week, it's fine. If they didn't turn up the week after, we'll give them a call and ask, are you okay? And then they turn up after 6 weeks, we'll be very happy with a smile and saying, welcome back. Your spot is still here. This is all of the little things that let's look at the positive that the sports can give you and take it out of there and plug it into a lot of other things in our lives.
Any other thoughts, my man?
I was just going to say, before we wrap it up, I think you've done a pretty good job at selling sport and your product really, really well today anyway. But how would you, if you could say one sentence to a parent that might be listening to us now that says, oh, no, there's no way my autistic child could do that, or, my child's deaf, how's he going to play, or, anything like that, or my child's in an electric wheelchair, what do you have to offer for that? You've got one sentence, what would you say?
Look at what they are able to. Do not look at the disability. Look at them as just another human being. Maybe missing a limb, maybe slow processing, or cannot see as good as, or cannot hear as good as yourself, but there is a lot in them. Just allow them and afford them the opportunity so they can find what they like and reach their potential in their way.
Awesome. I've got a couple of really quick ones, Damo. You
Fire
can
away.
jump in.
Yep.
Real quickly, what's next for you guys, and what states do you operate in for your programs?
What's next for us is obviously we are focusing on anything that's related to the social and community participation. Obviously the biggest part of it is the sport, but also the social aspect of it as well, because especially we've been operating for 6 years. 1st of July has been the 6-year anniversary, and a lot of the players that started with us 6 years ago were 11, 12, 13 and 14. They're now 18, 19 and 20 and 21. And parents will be like, well, they're not little kids anymore. What have you got to do for them now? So there is a big focus from our end now on the social gatherings.
Yeah. People have played sports together for their teenage years. They still want to keep hanging out.
They can come and sit down and play FIFA, put a movie on, put some music on and do some karaoke and dance. So this is our newest space, which is will be officially opened on the 28th of July, 2023. So I'm not sure when this podcast will be released, but definitely hit our website and find out about our social hub. There is going to be a range of activities in there. Again, the big focus of it is just the social and community participation. So during the day activities, in the evening activities, older boys and girls, younger groups as well. There is going to be a huge range on the social activities. And the second question is, which states do we operate in? We obviously started in Adelaide. And this is a win for Adelaide. By the way, I love Adelaide since I came to Australia. I love Adelaide. I've been everywhere in Australia apart from Perth. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
I like to hear that. I wouldn't rather living anywhere else. I just love Adelaide as it is. It was a struggle at the beginning, obviously coming from Cairo, a city of like 20 million people, coming to Adelaide. And back then, 2009, I don't even know what the population was, but it was nothing near a wide street in Cairo. But now I've just gotten used to it, and I love everything about it. And I feel like I have contributed my part by giving Adelaide a win, that this whole One Culture started only in Adelaide, and the headquarters will always be in Adelaide. We have now we've been running in Central Coast in New South Wales for about 2 years. And there is opportunities for us going in partnership with a good friends of ours in Melbourne and Victoria sometime very soon in the near future as well. So these are the states that we're operating in. And please, if you listening to us, if you have any ideas, if you have any questions, if you have a concept that you would like to, we are crazy at One Culture, and we are open to any crazy things, good things, obviously, innovative things. If you have any ideas, if you have any thoughts, if you have any concerns, reach out to us. Come and sit down, have a chat, come and see the space, and let's work together, because what we're doing here is we're trying to play our part to help every member of the community. And you being member of the community, potentially, we would like a lot of people to come and help us in the work that we're doing as well.
Awesome.
And just quickly, on a personal note, obviously I've been involved with One Culture for a couple of years doing the electric power chair soccer. So I can say I've been, touched by the effort that you guys do. And it's just been absolutely fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for coming on, man. We look forward to seeing what you're up to next. And thank you for sharing your values, your innovation and creativity for Australians, man. Love your work.
My pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in,
Thanks
peeps.
for having me.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. See ya.